Hello YouTubers, Manny here from Manny's How To Workshop with the video on how I cleaned my starter motor for my Nissan Xterra, 2000 Nissan Xterra. So basically the reason why I ended up cleaning it is because I noticed that I had a leak, oil leak on the center right between the transmission and the engine, and usually that's not a good sign. It usually means that your rear main seal is leaking. So, and that's a big job. Stupid mosquitoes coming out. Thanksgiving Day, and it's like 80 degrees here in Tampa. LOL. But so anyway, basically, so I jacked up my truck. Well, I didn't jack it up. I drove it up on some ramps to give me a lot of clearance on the front to get under there and to be able to get to that starter. And let me tell you, that was not an easy feat, to say the least. But anyway, so like I was saying, I spotted, or have been spotting, some leakage down there, right about where there's like a little weep hole in the center of the bottom of the transmission towards the front. And that's usually a good indicator that that's what it is, rear main seal is leaking. Or it could be the bottom of the top of the oil pan, where that, it goes right on the bottom of the crankshaft. It's got the like half moon gasket, could be leaking from there as well. I tried looking under there with a little mirror and light. Can't really see the rear main seal to see if in fact it was leaking from there, but my guess is that it is. And not only that, when I took the starter out, this being the bottom bolt, it was wet here, and then when this was like this in there, because it gets mounted like that, this little groove right there was also wet with oil and a little bit of coolant, which I found out when I looked up right above where the starter was. There's like a cover plate with 4 screws on it, and it was wet with the green stuff. Not only that, when I took this bottom bolt of the starter, there was coolant right there as well, which this is on the inside where the flywheel is. And I'm like, oh crap, don't tell me that something's leaking up there. But I believe I have a cross tube also that sits right above the transmission that goes like this, and that could be leaking, because I saw in another video that guy's was leaking. So for right now, to avoid having to drop the transmission or remove the engine just to replace the seal, which would be a job and a half. I need my truck. I got to work. I'm doing a job right now. I'm still not finished with it, and it's my bread and butter, so I got to get this going. Well, the other symptom that I was having was that my starter, when I would start the truck, especially in cold mornings, you put the key in, turn it, and it would just make that little click sound, and that was it. Well, and before it happened, and then I would like put on the brake and then move the shift gear from park to 1 and then back and put it and then start it, and it would crank over. So I thought maybe my transmission was acting up, but it turns out it wasn't that. It was the connections in here electrically between this armature, the case with the magnets right there. I guess it was not getting good contact. Not only that, here also with the brushes. I don't know if you can see the springs, but some of the springs, one of these was, when all of these were like sticking out, one of them was a little bit further in. So there was a weakness in the spring, and I looked closer, and I could see a little bit of rust on some of the little, on the springs on one end. So I was like, okay, so that it was making lack of contact, not giving enough power to turn this little gear here to the flywheel. And then you got your Bendix right there that swings it out and everything. With this little guy, here's a little relay that causes it to swing out while it's spinning. So what I did was I cleaned everything first with this parts cleaner. This is the liquid parts cleaner right there, which I have right there in that big 5-gallon container. which I got from my previous employment. I'm not going to say who. But anyway, so I used that first, the solvent, in here, in this little drip pan, you know, oil pan, or whatever you want to call it. Actually took all the parts, put it in there, let it soak, and then clean them off, put them in here, took them over there, and blew them off with my air compressor. Came back, and then slowly, one by one, took some brake cleaner, put it over here, sprayed it down, and then dried it off, and then now they're sitting to dry. And also for removing stuff, you got to have this right here, PB Blaster. Helps to soak the threads of most screws and bolts, which these weren't too bad. They came right off. But these two little guys, holy crap, man. I had to use a impact screwdriver. The one, you know, the one that you put the screwdriver on top of that and you hit it with the hammer and it snaps it out. I was hoping it wouldn't snap because this is aluminum. And this is probably like some kind of alloy or something. But and it worked. But I also happened to heat the casing first too on my propane torch over there before I took those out. So they came out pretty good. But anyway, so all these little parts were clean, nice. I scraped them down with the wire brush right there. You can use like a toothbrush, a little pad like this green pad, to clean everything off. Just make sure everything is clean, dry, and then once I stop assembling it, I'm gonna go ahead and use this right here. Is it's like dielectric grease, same thing you put on your battery terminals for all where the electrical connections go. I'm gonna make sure that those are nice and greased. For anywhere else that's mechanical, like these little gears in here, and then in this guy, there's a gear right there that you can't barely see, but you can just make it out right there anyway. And then in here, obviously, because that's where these guys go, in these like that, they sit all in there. And make sure I put this grease right here. This one's all purpose, but it's also high temperature and it'll work good. So there's an electrical side to the starter and there's a mechanical side. So this is all the electrical, obviously, here, 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 there. So all of those areas, I'm going to hit it up with this grease right here. Have a little bit left over that. And then all the mechanical side, I'm going to hit it with that right there. And so basically, I got underneath the truck. I cleaned up the area as good as I can. I also sprayed down there with brake cleaner. Wiped down with my shop rag where I saw the coolant leak. I got to do some more testing. I'm actually probably going to end up doing a coolant system pressure test before I put this back, just so as I can see for sure if it's leaking from where I think it is, which is right on the back of the engine. But anyway, guys, I don't want to make this too much longer than it needs to be. But so far, like I said, this is all disassembled. It's not a rebuild. It's just a cleaning, a deep cleaning, because here there was some moisture, corrosion. Here, not so much, but only on the outside where it seals. So I'm just going to make sure I put a little grease on those seals before I put everything back together. And I'll do an update on that as well. All right, guys, that'll be it for this one. Please rate, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And hit that bell notification button for more upcoming videos. Thanks, and catch you on the next one.